Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. Today is the 23rd of February 2022. Sorry I'm a bit late with this video. Had some urgent stuff to attend this morning. My pet was not well, so I had to take him to the vet, and we got a morning appointment, so that's about it. Now coming back to our session for today, my plan is that I'm going to go through a bit of news items, just a couple of news items, and then I'm going to talk about the geopolitical situation right now, and my opinion on whether it's going to have a sustained impact for say 3 or 4 months, or it's just going to fizzle out. And the other risks that we have in the environment, like tapering and interest rate hikes and inflation and supply chain bottleneck, whether they are going to be the mainstay. So yeah, so that's about it, and let's get started. So the very first thing I want to talk to you about is a nice press release that I saw recently, and it's about CRISPR. The first news article I have is from South Korea. The scientists in CGI labs, they developed this new platform technology for personalized cancer therapy. So basically what I understand from this article is that they have two components to this platform. One is the genomic knowledge. So they have compiled genomic information regarding various types of cancer cells and the specific mutations that happen in those cancer cells which are specific to that type of cancer. And they are using CRISPR-Cas9 to go to deliver CRISPR-Cas9 into those cells, so that it can latch onto those specific mutations and cut the DNA in those spots. So according to their estimate, if they were able to cut 50 such locations in a given cancer cells on the DNA, then the cancer cell would die. That was the death of the cancer cell was assured. The beauty of this particular approach seems to me to be that ordinary cells will never accept the CRISPR-Cas9 because they won't have those mutations in them. So the entire payload of CRISPR-Cas9 that is released into the body is going to gravitate towards the cancer cells. So that is number one. And the other thing I feel is that probably killing cancer cells this way would reduce the amount of pressure that's there on the kidneys. So that's the other thought that comes to my mind. In the past, physicians have used radiation therapy and chemotherapy in order to make sure that cancer cells can be killed. But unfortunately, those therapies are like a sledgehammer, and they do not discriminate between healthy cells and cancer cells, as a result of which the patient suffers a lot, and many good cells, healthy cells, also get destroyed. But with this particular approach, it should be better. I would recommend that all of you take a look at this particular article. And it seems to me that if this article is significantly different from the CAR-T approach that's being taken by Novartis and other companies, then probably they are going to get a run for their money, because this therapy would appear to be superior. But as you know, I'm not a scientist or a physician, so take my interpretation with a grain of salt. We'll try and get some good scientists or physicians who agree to come to our channel and answer these questions for us. That will be sometime in the future. But for now, I would put the link of this article in the description below. Please make it a point to have a look. The next article I have is that Intellia Therapeutics enters into a lease agreement to build manufacturing facility for its CRISPR-based therapies. So this is again a good news. They are looking at doing this somewhere to be operational in 2024. It's being built in Waltham, Massachusetts, and that is a bullish sign from Intellia. They seem to be nearing a situation where they feel the need to have the manufacturing facility up and running in 2024, which could probably mean monetization in the horizon. So I'm going to go and have a look at Intellia and look at their pipeline and also press releases and see if there is anything that could give us a hint as to which of their therapies is likely to be manufactured out here. Now let's go on to the geopolitics. S&P 500 is now down over 10%, and the other day we saw NASDAQ was down almost 15% from the highs. And this is a strong correction since the last one that happened in 2020 as soon as COVID struck us. So there are macroeconomic and geopolitical forces at play here, with most of the pressure coming from higher inflation and the Fed's approach towards tapering as well as interest rate hikes that they have announced already. And a part of this is also coming from the Russia-Ukraine tension. So typically after a dip like this, in the next 12 months, indices raise almost 9 to 10%. So we will definitely see a turnaround, but the question is, when will the dip end? Right now, the foremost for us is the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which is what triggered the most recent downward slope. So with regard to that, my thoughts are that the impact of the conflict with Russia and Ukraine is very unlikely to hit American markets too much. Europe may get hit a bit because gas supply to Germany is one of the main concerns because it comes from Russia. Russia is supplying a whole lot of gas to Europe, and countries like Poland and Germany are most likely to be hit the most. And if they get hit with high gas and they have inflation issues, then they are likely to get into a situation similar to what US is facing. And there'll be political tensions within those countries itself, because when prices start going up and the common man starts suffering, the political pressures are very high, just like what we are finding in the US. A good portion of the Western Europe is also dependent on Russian gas. At the same time, we also have to note that Russia is not that rich a country, and if gas revenues for Russia were stopped, they are not going to be able to sustain themselves for long. So there is an inherent need for Russia also to export gas. So we should not jump to any dire conclusions out here. So that front seems to me to be like saber rattling and for a while, and then things are likely to turn benign on the gas front. As it is, Germany already has said that they are not going to look at approving the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. So the way it was working before was Nord Stream 1 was going through Ukraine, and I think Russia was paying close to $2 billion every year to Ukraine. And that was a bit of a strain between Russia and Ukraine for the passing through rights. With Nord Stream 2, they would have avoided going through Ukraine, and it would have saved Russia around $2 million and reduced the leverage that Ukraine had on Russia for the pipeline. So with the stopping of Nord Stream 2 approval by Germany, it's already built and ready to go, but the approval has not been given by Germany. So that is a leverage of power that Germany has got. But again, there is the caveat, because if Germany puts that leverage into place and Russia stops giving gas to Germany, then the inflation will go up and the common people will start putting pressure on the political class. So that's what would probably happen. Now, if you look at the size of the US economy and the size of the Russian economy is hardly significant enough. And even in terms of global indices like the MCSI index and all, I think Russian firms are accounting for not more than 3.5% of the whole index. And when it comes to Ukraine is almost non-existent. So in terms of global impact and even impact on NASDAQ as such, it shouldn't be significant. So once the initial panic wears off and people look at all the rational facts, I don't think we are going to suffer much more from Ukraine-Russia conflict. But there could be a positive effect, because as oil prices go up, the oil sands in Canada become much more interesting. The shale oil becomes much more interesting. And all those oil resources which are there in US, which have in the past been expensive in terms of the market price of oil, will now become cheaper, and they will also come into production. And that extra production will automatically bring down the price of oil down further. The other thing is, since the past, we have incredibly increased the number of electric vehicles in the market. And as such, higher oil prices are going to boost the electric vehicle market. And the more electric vehicles come in, the less the demand for oil. So that factor is also there. So OPEC is most likely to intervene and start bringing down the price of oil, because they wouldn't like EVs to take off and reduce the overall demand for oil. So those are the dynamics I think are at work, and therefore we shouldn't worry too much about the Ukraine-Russia conflict. And I suppose the market will also come to the same conclusion in a couple of days. So that's my personal opinion. Let's get started with the VXN. So if I look at the VXN out here, we have a bullish pennant out here. So no matter what, VXN is going to go up when it breaks this red line out here. This red line is formed by all the higher highs that we have had on the VXN. So I'd be really sad to see us break out here. Maybe we could break out much less at a much lower level and then go up and then probably come back down again. Whichever way I look at it, it does not look good. Our MACD is also turning bullish and the momentum is picking up. So I think the VXN is not looking particularly good today, and there's a very good chance that we may stay above this red line and we'll start a new series of higher highs and higher lows. So let's go on to the NASDAQ. So if I look at the NASDAQ, let us wait for the trend lines to come in. The computer is slightly slow today. So if you recollect, in my last video, I mentioned that this particular support that we have out here at 13,329.77 is a critical support. So we have breached that support, and we are likely to now stop at 13,185.70, which is the next green line, which has given us support in the past. And our MACD is looking bearish and the momentum is also falling. So that's an encouraging sign, and hopefully we are able to bounce off 13,185, which is this green line, and start our move upwards. So I'm going to mark this particular support line as a resistance now because we have fallen below it. So now let us go and look at the biotech sector and look at all our biotech shares. So we have here our biotech shares, and I'm going to sort it out just to be sure that we get the winners first. So Novartis, Regeneron, Illumina. So I'm going to ignore Novartis and Regeneron for now because they are established companies and they will do well. Our focus is going to be on the biotech companies, the CRISPR startups. Let us look at Illumina. I have added Illumina to this list. I'm going to expand this. If any of you find that some of these are not worth following, please put it in the comments and I would consider removing it from this watch list out here. Illumina is better today as compared to yesterday. It opened up higher, but it has fallen down, and it's tackling a resistance which is happening to be at 322.88. And if we break through this resistance, then our next resistance is going to be the 9-day EMA, which is this yellow line. And you can see that out here. And as far as our MACD is concerned, it is kind of turning towards the signal line, but not there yet. And the momentum is also flat. So I suspect that it will be difficult for us to break through this resistance. However, if you recollect my earlier commentary on the geopolitical situation, if the market comes to that conclusion either today, maybe by evening or tomorrow, things could change. And if that happens today, we could probably see us breaking the resistance and staying just above that. It won't be a big jump, but a slight relief rally. Vertex is next. Vertex is up 0.17%. That's around 40 cents. And if you look at Vertex right now, it has got resistance at 234.58, and also the 9-day and the 20-day EMA, which is this yellow line and the orange line, both are going to constrain it. And the support is basically coming from the 50-day and the 100-day EMA, and also horizontal support at 226.21, which is this green line out here. So that's where we are. And when we look at MACD, it is bearish, and the momentum is also very low. And if you see the volumes are also typically lower than the typical volume. That's much lower out here. So the lower the volume, the significance of the price diminishes. So if the volume here is lower, the significant pricing would be the previous day. So I wouldn't worry too much because the volume is low. If things pick up and we start moving upwards, then I would like to have bigger volumes so that the upward movement is much more validated by the market. Pfizer, again, as I mentioned, I'm going to ignore the big ones. Pfizer will be fine. Let us go to IMTX. So if we look at IMTX, oh my God, it looks really, really terrible out here. It is constrained by the 9-day EMA and also the horizontal resistance at 8.80, which is this red line out here. And we are in a very bad shape today. There's further downward pressure because the momentum has fallen to the very bottom. And MACD is also bearish. But typically when you get into a situation like this, there's a bounce back because the participants in the market feel that it can't go down any further. It's as low as it can be. And there's a little bit of buying, which is called as a dead cat bounce. So there is most likely to be a dead cat bounce happening today for this. And let us go back in time and see how low the MACD has been in the past. So I'm just going to take this trend line tool and I'm going to look at the bottom here and the bottom here. So in the past, the lowest it had gone was -5.9, and today it has gone way below -5.9. So there is a very good chance that there will be a bounce back for IMTX either today or morning tomorrow. But that bounce back has to come. The fall is very, very steep, and I think there will be participants who are going to buy in. Maybe there will be insider buys. We should check out the website of IMTX or NASDAQ to see if there are insider buys in IMTX. Next, let us look at PACB. PACB is down -1.1%, and let us go to a 1-year time frame where every candle is 1 day, which is what I like to look at in the current situation. So we are falling below our last support, which was at 10.37, and the volumes are low, so I'm slightly better, but it's only 11:43 in the morning today, and we have plenty of trading to go for the rest of the day. So if the volumes continue to be closer to average and we continue to be at such low levels, I'll be very concerned. The MACD is turning, is bullish, but it's turning towards the signal line. That's not a good sign, and the momentum is also pointing downwards, so that's also not a good sign. So the chances of us getting back above the support of 10.37 seems to be slim today, unless there is a change in the sentiment in the market and with regard to Ukraine and Russia, in which case we might end up just above this support line. That could probably happen by the end of the day. Next is VRV. So if I look at VRV, MACD is turning bearish. Momentum is also flat. So it's not looking good, and it's constrained by all the exponential moving averages. So things are not looking good for VRV either. It's going to stay in the red today. Beam is down -2.4%, and the MACD is turning towards the signal line, and soon it's going to turn bearish. And we have been constrained by the 9-day and the 20-day EMA. Both of them are converging at around 66.68 and 66.89, and that is keeping our pricing down here for Beam. Right now we are at 63.55, and by the looks of the various indicators out here, I think we are going to fall further today. Let's look at ARCG, which is down 2.31%. My oh my, Oh, it's going to test the support at 42.62, which is this green line out here. And we also have a support with this diagonal green line, which is part of a bearish channel. It's the bottom of the bearish channel. So we've got two supports which are potentially available for us here. MACD has turned bearish and the momentum is falling. Things are not at all looking good for ARCG. I wonder what Kathy Woods is doing right now. May the force be with her. Let's look at blue. Down 3.1%, and MACD is flat, momentum is flat. We are being constrained by the 9-day EMA in conjunction with the horizontal resistance, which happens to be at 6.44. So that's what we got here for Bluebird. No respite for Bluebird. It's going to stay red. Eritas is down 3%. That's around 46 cents. Momentum is flat, and MACD is also bearish, and we are still within the bearish channel, and we still have support from the bottom of the bearish channel, which is this green line out here, and we have a resistance which happens to be on this red line that you can see here, which is around 15.52 or 15.37, something like that, and we are going to stay below it. That is constraining it, and that is constraining us presently. We are at 14.57. CRISPR is down 2.9%, and our MACD is bearish, and we have flat RSI. The momentum is flat and falling down further. And what I have done here is I have tried to do extra bit of analysis for CRISPR. Of course, it's my favorite. So I've done a little extra analysis out here, and I can see a bullish divergence coming up because the MACD the MACD is kind of moving in this direction. If you see this red line, and even the RSI is following the same trend, whereas the price is going in the opposite trend. So in this case, the MACD should prevail because it's a leading indicator, and we will see turnaround on CRISPR very soon. tdoc. tdoc is down -3.9 or 4% as we speak, and it has got support with this diagonal green line, which is the bottom of a bearish channel, which has been with us since somewhere around 12th of May 2021. So that's what we have here. And in terms of MACD, the MACD is bearish, and our RSI is also going down. The momentum is falling. So it's not looking good. It's likely that we are going to end up testing this support line, the green support line. And yeah, so again, a lot of worries for Cathy Wood and ArcG investors and tdoc investors. Intellia is down minus 3.5%, and it's headed towards testing the bottom of this bearish channel that we have, the green line. And our MACD is bearish, and the momentum is also falling. And we have earnings coming up for Intellia on 24th of February, which is tomorrow. I don't know if it's before or after hours, so we'll see what happens with that earnings. Maybe we get a catalyst and we bounce off this green line. That's a good possibility. You will notice that I've added Caribou Biosciences. I think it's an important company that should be in our portfolio. So I'm going to do a little bit more research on Caribou Biosciences and include this here. If any of you feel that we need not look at it, just put it in the comments below, and I'll consider removing it. But I think it's important because it's got a lot of collaborations and licensings, and it's something that I want to keep my eye on. It's not doing very well right now. The MACD is bearish and the momentum is falling, and it's below all the 4 exponential moving averages. And if I was to take at a lifetime look at this particular share, it launched at a much higher price. So when it launched, I think it launched at around 19.56 at IPO, and then it fell down. And right now it is way below where it launched. So if I was thinking about it, and I just look at the money factor and say that the money that it gathered during the IPO has been used up in all the research, and now they don't have any money and they're going to look for equity dilution or something like that, that could probably justify the fall in the price. But at the same time, this company has been working since 1st of July 21 in the market. So since then, they have definitely done a lot of research, and I have to take a look at their pipeline to see where they are in terms of being able to come close to any monetization. So if they have not made much headway in their pipeline, and it's going to be more funding for them, then definitely we could go further below this. So let me do some more research and get back to you on that. And if any of you have got any information, or if you have it in your, if you have Caribou in your portfolio, please put your comments on the comment bar below so that I can consider that and keep it in the back of my mind while I'm doing my research. Next, I'll look at Allogene. Allogene is down 4%, and let me go to a 1-year time frame. And if you look at the 1-year time frame, we have had this green line, support line in this bearish channel, and it has supported us for a long time, and I think it is going to support us once again, and we will bounce off this green line. We have the earnings which are supposed to come out today, probably after the business hours, and we'll see if that gives us a bounce and we start moving upwards. We are constrained by the 9-day EMA, and after that we have resistance from the 20-day EMA and the 50-day, and then the 100-day EMA, and then finally this bearish channel upper bound. So that's what we have with this. So that brings me to an end of today's session, and I hope you liked this video. Please don't forget to put a like out there. It gets this video to other people. And also, if you're here for the first time, or if you have been watching our videos and you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's absolutely free, and it will mean a whole lot to me. It will motivate me to do more videos and better videos and have more shares for analysis. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye for now.